This second panel really is a reflection of this room. It's people who are from Congo, it's people who are from completely different places, it's people who are curious but have never been back but have got some, it's us. And we just felt that it would be good to have a panel that reflected us, and we can talk about the things that go on in here or in our living rooms that we don't necessarily know where to take that conversation. We can have that today. So with that in mind, I'm not going to, ooh.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something. Sorry.
No, I love it. I love it. Go.
As an actor, you try to portray the complexity of the human experience.
I like where you're going.
And I guess because I've never been to the Congo, there's this quest that I have within me to understand where I'm from, my roots. And sadly, I never had a chance to have those conversations with my father because he passed away when I was very young. So then, for me, it's all a journey that I have to do it myself. You know, so yeah.
I appreciate you bringing that in. Thank you, bro. Okay. Because there is a thing as well. What happens when our elders are not there to teach us the things that they know? Stories go. So if we're not already jumping into learning those stories, we're not going to get there. Oh God, that was getting a bit preachy. All right. This is to you. So if you were sleeping, please wake up. Let's start with a quick exercise. I would like you to have a think, and if you want to pair and share it like we did in school, you can do. But I want you to give me one word that comes to mind when you think about traveling to Congo, specifically that. Not Congo generally, but when you think about traveling there, what one word comes to mind? Just a word, not a sentence. In fact, I'll give you 10 seconds to talk to the person next to you, whether you know them or not, and then come up with one word. 9, 8, 7. You don't have someone? Speak to him. 6, 5. Someone speak to the lady. She's got no one to speak to. Behind you. 5. How are you going to leave her out there by herself? 4. 3. Sis is like, it's not, I ain't talking. 2 and 1. Thank you so much. I love that. We went from no talk to buzzing, and people don't want to respect the countdown now. All right, the countdown is at 0. It was just 10 seconds, guys. Even our panelists at the front, they're all in. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. All right, what's your one word? Somebody give me something disgusting. Yes, at the back. As in the beer. You got it. Strong opening there. The first thing, the name of the beer. Why are we starting with beers? The men are in the house, they want the beers. We're traveling to Congo to drink beer.
Presents.
Oh! It got spiritual. So we went from beers and bars to presents. E-N-T-S. I heard E-N-C-E. You're right. You do. And cash. Belonging. Beautiful. You're gonna do. Roaming mic.
That's a hectic.
Hectic.
I would say immersive.
Immersive. Oh, she brought the Lingala into the room. Kitoko. Does anyone not know what that means? Okay. Who wants it? It means beautiful, nice. Somebody at the.
I'll say
Security. Yes. Wow.
And I feel like if we encourage our children to go, our young people to go,
You're going with them presents every year as well. She's the one to talk to. She's loaded. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Ooh. Yes.
I would say I'm
Amazing.
I feel like in the way they kind of mirror that areas in Congo and kind of do some of the stuff. So just picture that.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
That's lovely.
That's lovely. Thank you.
So I would say, let's support. I got my message pronounce.
That's okay. Yes. Sapology.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right. Did we capture everything, or is there something? Okay, Mama. Let me come to you.
I'd say warm. You know when you first get off the plane, that warmth,
It hits you.
the people, the culture, the feeling that you get when you get back to the UK in the cold. The first thing you miss is that warmth.
Yes.
Yes.
Where are you going?
It's coming to you, I think, after.
I'm saying Uganda.
Which one? Oh. Do you want to explain that for the people who don't know what you're talking about? I love that as the description as a scientist, or could be seen as a witch doctor, herbalist, depending on how you. Or a priest, depending on how you interpret. Thank you so much for bringing that into the room as well. So we started at Primus Beer, and we ended at. Wow! Guys, come to Congo. We've got it all. Basically, is what we're saying. You can have a beer with your witch doctor. Banging. All right. So, moving on to the panel. That's our intro. Did you like it? All right, so out of, where's my chair? That was going to be a moment. Not in front of people, it's not a vibe. Okay, so out of the words that the audience shared, which resonates with you most and why, Kelly?
I have to start. I want to caveat this as well to say, for me, when I think about Congo, and if you guys read my bio, I'm a proud Jamaican, but essentially I'm an African first.
Any Jamaicans in the house?
I love
Welcome!
We're like South London, we're somewhere. I remember being a really young girl, maybe 8 or 9, and being in Hackney Library.
Oh, shout out Hackney!
The word that I feel really much about Congo is pride. And discovering Patrick Lumumba.
Yes.
Right? And I was thinking around this real self-pride, right? This was the man Malcolm X, or I was thinking about Marvin Gaye. But this was the person Malcolm X said was the greatest black African to ever rule the world, right? And how, as a young person, as you navigate and try to find yourself, and you see these images of roots, and you go to school on Monday, and going, actually, how do you have this, be filled with this great sense of pride about myself as well, that someone would give everything, his own life, right, for the freedom of these people.
That's beautiful.
And so for me, when I think about traveling to the Congo, when I saw this, right, I was like, I love traveling. I want to go. I want to be out there. I want to see the world. And I went to, I shared this. I went to Antigua, and I know, like, you see how much we rely on tourism in the Caribbean, right? But actually, how do we do? There's lots of people from the diaspora living around the world, right? But how do we connect with back home and actually use our skills and talent and all the great things that we have inside and go, actually, if you're not respecting it here, I can go back home. There's not a thing there, like, they go, really? We don't know that. How do you reconcile that?
Yeah.
But the thing when I saw this was like, would I be safe, right? That was the thing, like the lady in the audience said around security. Would I be safe? And then I have to reconcile that with my own understanding, because actually actually, I said, you know what, let me go and do some research because I want to check in with why do I feel like actually I should be really proud and humble to go back home, right? To connect with self, because that's important, right? Why do I feel like that? And I went on and I was doing some research and I was like, let me go to the Home Office, the list of countries that the Home Office advised like each and every visit. And actually, where was I last month? In Egypt.
Yeah.
And one of the places. And
Yeah.
it's not the country because they tell you it's a region. So they tell you that actually there's regions, I think it's maybe the border of Libya or something, you shouldn't visit, right? But I was like, why did I not feel fearful to go to Egypt?
Right.
But then I was focused on there. My friends and my family told me that they go back to Nigeria and I don't have that, oh, are you going to be safe?
So what was it, Kelly? Why did you feel fearful compared to other?
I just think, as well, I think it's the narrative that's out there, right?
Yeah.
But then I realised the narrative about there, and even like when I was asked to be on the panel that week, and me and Kasali were talking about it, actually, they said that they arrested some UN people. But actually, I realised actually what narrative does it serve, if I believe that, and actually what agenda does it serve, right? What is it, and you know, like Black History Month was all about reclaiming the narrative.
Right.
Like Madeline said, we have to reclaim our narrative.
Yes.
That's home, right? And we should, like you said, you feel that warmth and that culture and your people, right? So we have to actually go, there might be things happening, but there's things happening across the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? But that shouldn't stop us from going, I want to find home, I want to connect with self. So yeah.
Okay, so jumping off from what Kelly's just talked about and the words that were coming from the audience, some of the words might reflect misconceptions. Are there any key misunderstandings that you've noticed that we should address right now?
Yeah, I mean, as mentioned in the previous panel as well, I think one that comes up a lot is to deal with insecurity. And I want to start by saying there is ability in disability, and there certainly is security in insecurity. And the reason why I want to say that is because we focus too much on certain words, especially negative ones, to an extent where we allow those words to define us.
Right.
And I think it's time, as Kelly mentioned, it's time for us to reclaim the narratives, because the reason why we hang on to these words is because what we've been watching on the news, what's been published on the mainstream media, and that's not the reality on the ground. We have to do enough research, prepare ourselves with the guidance that's provided to us, and make our way to Congo to see exactly the type of life, people are experiencing when they travel to Congo.
Can I play devil's advocate for a moment?
Yes.
Because I know there'll be some people that will say it is reality on the ground.
Yeah.
But I think pointing back to something that Christelle said about land mass geography and that all of those, the perspective is the issue, isn't it? How we see it as one region. So can you speak on that for a moment? Because I think a lot of people don't see that.
Yeah, definitely. And it starts from understanding the geographical aspect of the country as well, how big it is. I mean, for you to travel from Kinshasa to Goma, 4 hours. If you took a plane here for 4 hours, you'll be in another country. Possibly outside Europe. So we need to understand that and how quick. And I want to focus more on the wording and how quick negative wording travel. So if you're telling me that it's only war that's taking place in Congo, then how are people living there on a day-to-day basis? These are the type of questions we need to be asking ourselves when we're digesting the information. And unfortunately, we don't have the time, or we don't have the communication coming from Congo, for example, to counteract this type of negative perception that's been fed into our brain on a day-to-day basis.
That's true. Although, sitting in this room, there were several people that said that they either go every year or that they've been... How many people have been back? And they're back. As in they've been back and they're back.
Yeah.
So this narrative of if you go there, you're not making it back. This is literally a visual example of you can do it and you can make it back to tell the stories too, and then want to go back.
And maybe it's down to us having back to actually
tell the stories.
Present and tell the story. And it goes back to reclaiming the narrative.
Absolutely.
Because for so long, the story has been told, but not by us.
Not by us.
We need to claim it, not just for Black History Month,
The whole year.
for the whole year.
I love that. Thank you so much. What can you tell us about the approach that you're taking for first-time visitors and how you're supporting them to feel secure, reassured about going to Congo?
Yeah, so Destination Congo, the initiative initially came about to be able to facilitate the transition for those who have not had connection with Congo, want to connect with Congo again. And the journey starts from here, from the moment you decide to join us on this tour.
Right.
So, for example, with the application of a visa, so we do have connections and also a direct relationship with the embassy, which is there to facilitate applications for people that are coming on board with us. So we will release guidance for people to follow, but if there was needed a much needed support, then they can always come directly to us.
Lovely.
And then once we get to Congo, for example, so we have a direct transportation from the airport to the hotel, which we've located right in the center of the city. So
nice.
all the vibes come to us.
Vibes.
All the vibes will be coming to us. So we've made sure it's secure. And I think one aspect as well we also need to highlight is that it's recognized by the government. I'm allowed to mention that the Prime Minister wrote to us.
Oh.
Yeah.
He just like casually wrote you a letter.
But yeah, it is recognized in the highest office, which is the Prime Minister.
Which obviously increases the security element.
Exactly. And we're also working hard to be able to build that relationship, to get them on board, to actually see what we're able to deliver, so that it can become a recurring theme, and not just a one-off. And that's what Destination Congo is. We really want to facilitate the transition for people back to Congo.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. And then for you, Terence, just thinking about your journey and your story, I know you're curious about going back. What is it that you're curious about? What makes you want to go?
I guess I would say belonging. You know, I want to know what it feels like to walk around in a space and you're not a minority.
Oh, that was a strong one.
And also, I would say there's a lot of healing for me too, because sadly my parents, when they left the country, they had so much pain, and the way they raised me, it was, you should not go back to the Congo, you know, there's nothing good there, you know. You're born in France, so you have to just be a French guy and then don't think about the Congo as much, you know. But I find it really sad, you know, because I can't run away from that, you know. And I'm very fascinated about, you know, every time I walk around the city, I'm looking at the houses and the homes, because I don't know what it feels like to be home, you know, because I know I'm here in the Western world by the way of history, but I was technically not meant to be here.
Yeah.
So I wanna know what it feels like.
Yeah.
And maybe I might be disappointed. I don't know, but I just want to experience that once in my life. You know?
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I want.
I guess this is the beginning of something. Having heard from the panelists and also from the audience, is there anything that has resonated with you that's made you think, actually I'd like to do that, or I'd like to see that, or that makes me want to go?
Well, I think I'm very interested in the art. You know, I was speaking to Edo, because as an artist I feel like this, what was lacking for me when I was a little kid is, yes, my parents were not educating me on my Congoleseness, but I would have liked to have a space where I could go and open books and watch films that talk about the Congolese narrative, like collective memory, that I think we are lacking here, which is very interesting, because as Edo was saying, there's 90% of our things here, you know? And maybe it's just I never had access to it. So I guess I just want to know more about, you know, who were my ancestors.
Yeah.
So that I'm gonna have an understanding of who I am, you know.
Yeah. And I also want to jump in and just big you up, because you were in an amazing show that some of you may have gone to see, Rumble in the Jungle. Huge, just did so much on the theatrical stage in London. And big yourself up, because you were so good in it. I went to see it twice. And it's not an easy show to play, because you're constantly, it's immersive, you're interacting with audience, and you were just in role. And I remember speaking to you, you were in role. I remember speaking to you on both nights, you probably don't remember me. I was the girl with the afro, this girl. And I remember speaking to you, and you were playing, you were talking about being a boxer, and you were very, very like politically charged about, you know, this fight is taking place here, but there's so many things that are wrong, and you were just so passionate about it. And I'm wondering whether that show has anything to do with this wanting to
Yeah, actually, you know, because you know, you have so many auditions, and you just want to book a job, and then there's something that I've always told myself. It's like I want to do meaningful things.
Right.
And so when this job came about, I was like, wow, that's interesting. It's about the Congo, you know. And I remember when I signed the contract, it was on the Independence Day, you know, and I was like, wow.
Really?
Yeah, that was crazy, you know. And I was like, okay, so then maybe God wants me to reconnect to my ancestry, my roots through my art, right?
Right.
And when they gave me the character, I didn't have no notes about him. I just knew that his name was Mumba. And I think we took inspiration from Patrice Lumumba. I studied law, I have a law background, so like, you know, that's what I was very
you were intense.
But then also, because I used to be a French Olympic boxer, I wanted to connect to the boxing champion of Zaire that was in Zaire in 1974, because I wanted to give space for my ancestry to shine. It was not just about me, but I wanted people to be aware that, the fight was about Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, but in 1974 in Zaire, there was a boxing champion, and his name was Jean Chikuna, but nobody talks about it, you know. And I guess there was, elements of that in my
100%. I felt that so strong when I spoke to you. I was like, this guy's for real. Thank you so much for sharing that.